All right, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of The Corona Effect, how to make a shift and lead your world. And first and foremost, I have my co-host and good friend right down the beach from me, Shane Barker. We both grew up in hospitality, and we're both in content marketing. But whenever I need something content, Shane is the first person I go to in this world. So just so you know, check out Shane. Shane, how the heck are you doing, man?
Good. And I want to point out, you said in the world, and the world is big. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, and he picks me for whatever reason. So there we go. We're excited about that.
Yes. And then featuring today, we have Emma Wimberly. She's the artist that's going to be actually sketching this entire program while we're talking. She's really from the Ink Factory, which is this amazing place that I learned about at a conference. And then all of a sudden, it was just totally random. What did we decide this like at 11 o'clock last night? Let's do this, right? So we're all about improv around here, so it's super cool. But you guys have done a tremendous job, and now you're helping to visually sketch virtual meetings, which is super cool. So, Emma, I know you're going to be on the background, but thank you so much for doing this, and it's nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good.
All right, Shane. So this is crazy. So there's a lot of things, we're going to break this up into 3 sections. So we have life adjustments, business adjustments, and then marketing adjustments, because we're both in marketing. So I figured, why not? But what's super crazy is that we have, and you guys can type questions as we go here. So as you have questions, we'll have those fed to us, and then we'll try to take as many as we can. But what's interesting about this is we've had to change, first and foremost, our way of living, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have. I mean, you have everything about what you used to do 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, depending on where you're at in the country or I guess in the world. Yeah, everything's changing, right? I mean, it's whatever the way you used to do things, the way you do things today. Once again, we're going to talk about that. Life and business and marketing is totally changed, right? Your life has changed, and the way I look at this thing, and once again, I know we're going to kind of talk about this. We got about an hour to talk about it, but is really evaluating life and what you have to do. Like, how are things different, right? Because obviously now, once again, depending on where you're at, now you can. There's only essential things that you can do, right? So if you need to go to the bank, that's an essential thing. If you need to, all the other stuff in your life is like not an essential for the most part, right? I mean, you can go to restaurants and stuff like that in regards if you're getting food out to go. I mean, I'm in Sacramento, California, so we can still get food to go. Still a little skeptical of that. Once again, you got to be a little cautious on where they're making the food. This, you would never think about that a month ago. Like, I would never go, hey, I wonder who's in the kitchen and what are they doing and who have they talked to and where have they traveled to. I mean, that's the life today. Is like it used to be, hey, we just did our thing. And, you'd be like, hey, be a little cautious, cover your mouth and do this if you're, around people. When you're traveling on an airplane, like take some vitamins or something like that, right? To kind of boost up your immune system. Because obviously, Dean, we do a lot of traveling, for speaking stuff as you do.
Oh, wow.
And, you kind of build up hopefully a little immunity to that, but you get somebody on a plane that has something. So now it's like, you have to think about everything, like just everything. You have to think about, how does this affect me and how does this affect other people, right? Because that's what you have to look at. It's not just, okay, I know that I'm safe, but the problem with the whole coronavirus or COVID-19 is we don't know. I could have it and not know it, right? It could be asymptomatic. So that's what's scary is that, I go and see my grandma, which I haven't done, and I haven't seen my grandma or my mom. And most of my family I haven't seen in almost a month's time because we've self-quarantined. But now you can't do that, right? And now it's because you don't know what you've got, and then potentially the people that you talk to where they've been. And so it's this weird thing of like, staying 6 feet is awesome, and that's what we're looking to do. But it's like, you have to think deeper than that. You have to think about, like, with the people you reach out to or the people that you're around, and that involves work too. I mean, some people are working from home remotely, and that's awesome, right? That's cool. You can do that. My wife, on the other hand, is a nurse. So she goes in every single day and she's putting her, I hate to say life on the line, but she is, right? But she was also, that's her job, right? I mean, nobody probably told her 3 years ago, like, hey, there might be this corona thing. There's going to be a pandemic and it might be super scary and people might die. That probably wasn't introduced to anybody, right? That wasn't a possibility. Now they're wearing masks. I mean, I went in to go visit her, and you can't walk in the front door without them checking your temperature. Like, there's tables everywhere, 6 feet away. They ask you questions. When was the last time you traveled? They put a little thing up to your head to see if you have a brain, Or maybe it was to check your temperature. I don't know. But either way, I passed both. They're like, yeah, your brain's small.
Did you pass both? I was going to say.
I mean, I wouldn't say with flying colors. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, they were like, you don't have a temperature, but the brain thing, like, I would probably see a doctor. And I was like, well, that's why I'm here. Right? I should probably.
It's a little soft here, but I don't know why.
Yeah, and so small, and just, I guess I just pack a lot into that little thing. But yeah. And so that's the life that we live in. I mean, you go to a grocery store, and you go to a grocery store, it's like, I call it human Tetris. It's this weird thing of like, you got, ooh, you're 6 feet and 5 and who goes next? And I don't know, give a signal. And, and now everybody's wearing masks. Like, I literally just went on a walk. I still try to work out every day of like, still staying 6 feet away and, playing that little game. But, you go to a store and it's just the weirdest thing because, now a lot of people are wearing masks, but that's still, you have to be 6 feet away. And so it's this, do I go? Do you go? Did you go? How long have you been there? I'm not really sure. Like, I'm going to grab the mangoes and you're touching a mango and you're like, how many people have touched a mango? I mean, it's like right now you're bringing this home. Like, woo.
Yeah, I know. And I noticed, I noticed that you log your walks on Instagram, right? So before this, I was always a gym rat. So I loved the gym. I loved the people in the gym. I was at the gym pretty much 5 times a week. And I had all my favorite cool things to do at the gym. And were you a gym guy and then you went to the outdoors, or were you always an outdoor walk guy?
So it's funny. So I've had different things in my life, right? Like, I used to be, I won't say a power lifter, but power lifter is a strong term. Let me take this back. I used to lift pretty good size weights when I was younger. And so I did that when I was really young. I was tiny, like tiny in the sense that, like, if there was a hefty wind or something, I would fall down. Like, not really, but maybe 2 or 3 times I almost fell. I mean, like, really skinny, like 120, 130 pounds, and I'm 6'1". So you do the math on that. And then I think I got enough people to pick on me that I was like, hey, I'm, screw this, like, not anymore. I'm Irish. So I'm like, I'm already kind of a little, aggressive anyways. So I went and started working out like in my college days, and, got a little mass to me. And I'm probably going to lie to your audience because I'm working on my COVID-19 belly right now. So, but I'm about 205 right now. But I did CrossFit and I used to do boxing. I've had like phases of things where I'll do for 6 months or a year and then I get tired of it. And the walking thing is just something, it's helped me mentally just for like with business and work and stuff I've got going on to think about stuff. And I take notes and do calls, assuming that I don't have to be directly in front of my computer. So that's always been awesome.
Is that just since the COVID thing, the lockdown thing?
No, I've actually, I probably should be sponsored by Fitbit. They probably should throw me like free wristbands. Yeah. Like every 4 minutes. I literally have 4 of them. I've got this one. I've got a little band thing that I've got on right now because I want to wear my regular watch. I have a sickness. So, and I'm, once again, as long as I'm walking, I do right now, I do about 20,000 steps a day. I do about 10 miles a day.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. And that's cool. That is so cool.
Well, and once again, Fitbit, if you're listening, I am looking for a sponsorship. I'm not joking.
Same here.
Please reach out.
We'll team up on this. So I always try to think about how did we change, life wise. So for me, I'm doing some of this new, real estate adventure stuff I told you a little bit about.
Yeah,
so,
awesome.
I go in as interim CMOs at these companies, but the CEO of that company literally does 2 resets a day. So he has this block of work time super early, and then he does a 2-hour walk, and then he resets, meditates, and then did this block of work, and then another block of walk, and sometimes a third. And I was always the guy that was like, I'm gonna burn up this day. I'm gonna get as much done. I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out, and I get so much done. I'm just super intense. And then I'm just like, I started this walking thing and I was like, wow, I like notice stuff. I'm like, I breathe differently. I think differently. I feel differently. And I'm like, I got to get it in that 1 hour block because I'm so busy. But then I'm like, I made all these adjustments and it sort of gave me a different view of the world, on myself.
I'll tell you from me. So I have a pretty strict schedule. What I usually do is I wake up around 5 or 5:30. I get up and what I'll do is I just get a big old glass of water to kind of rehydrate. And then I usually go on my walk instantly. So I go and I do that. I'll do my walk for about 2 hours. I'm still talking with my team on Slack. I'm still, checking emails and doing all this kind of stuff. I've almost fallen probably like 6 times and stuff. So I only put in one earpiece. So I'm at least, if it's dark out, it's a different deal. And then usually what I do is I come in and then I'll work for about 5 hours. And then the same thing, I'll take I don't meditate. I would love to meditate, but I've got like ADHD and there's 10,000 windows open. And like, I would just sit down and think about 400 different things to do. I'm like always 6th gear. So it's really hard for me to take that back. But my walk is that time to still get some stuff done, still get some working out. And then it just feels good. And the other side, to be honest, is I'm a beer drinker. Like I like craft beer. And so I want to have a beer at the end of the night. And at my age, I'm 44, going to be 45 if I make it to July 30th, by the way. You guys write that down if you want to send presents or anything. That's an important date. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I like to have a beer at the end of the night and I enjoy craft beer. So I'm fat. So that's like my thing is like, if I'm going to drink a craft beer, I got to work it off the next day. I call it beer credits. So I'll go in and
you call them beer credits? Beer credits?
Beer credits. Yeah.
Wait, how many steps is it for a can that you like offset?
Well, this is the thing. I don't exactly look into that because then I used to use like MyFitnessPal. Because I was at one point, one of my companies, a whole nother story, I had 130 employees, extremely stressed. I was working 20 hours a day. And I got up to probably 230. And then that was a pivotal time for me where I was like, hey, I got to change my lifestyle. Like I just can't do this. So I started using my FitPal and looking at that. And that's when I really realized that, these beers that I like, because I'm not a Coors Light guy, those are up 150 calories or whatever it is, or Michelob Ultra, which is like, 7 grams and I don't know what it is, like 9 calories, not really, it's like 90. But I drink this stuff like 350 because I like taste, I like flavor.
Yeah.
And so, if I have 2 of those, I'm like, I need to run the rest of the week, like 47 miles, or something, not really. But it's just one of those deals. It's like, you just kind of think about, okay, I know that I do 10 miles. That's going to cover my 1 beer at night. And I'll probably have something not real healthy food wise. I don't mean extremely unhealthy, but I'll add a little cheese to the burrito or something, like a little ranch dressing or something like that. Depends on how much I've had to drink, of course.
Yeah. So funny. So I started this maybe 4 weeks ago and it was still, I'm in the Midwest here where it still is like snowed yesterday, but it was 75 the day before. So it's really a weird time for us.
So hold on, where are you right now? Because I thought you were in Hawaii. You look okay.
Well, yeah, I'm time traveling. So
God,
I'm into time travel, but we have no time for this segment. So to get into that. So, but it was funny because I was like, you know what, I'm going to walk and just see how far I can go. It was like no plan. I just threw on my stuff. It was still a little cold out. It had just snowed a little bit on the ground, not a lot. And I'm walking, it's in the snow and people are offering me rides that know me and we're supposed to be social distancing, right? And I'm like, no, they're beeping at me. And so it's like, and I'm documenting some of it. And I get to, I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm at Target. That's like a mile or 2 away. And so I go, I'm going to go shopping. So I like tell Holly, text me what you need. And she texts me this big list of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to buy a backpack and I'm going to go shopping. So I filled up a cart and filled up my backpack. And so I check out and I'm stuffing the backpack and people come walking over and they go, that's an awesome idea. And I was like, I just sort of made it up. It's like I'm a backpack shopper now.
That's too funny. I can imagine your neighbors are pulling up like, oh, Dean's lost again. Dean, get in the car, buddy. Like, no, this is on purpose, you guys. I meant to do this. Thank you so much for looking out for me though.
But it's cool. I think you get that mindfulness effect of the walking. And of course, I like my music and I get to see people. And what's interesting is you're right. I've got people that I just, and honestly, I feel a little, even though I know it's supposed to happen, I feel a little bit hurt by it, but I'm walking and I see them come in and they will go to the other side of the block or they will go way out in the street. And I'm just like, oh, because I'm such a hugger and, sort of like connector, and so I'm like,
it's crazy. Like I had to do that this morning. Like literally you go to this side and there's people here and you're like, well, shoot, they're coming this fast. There's people over here. I mean, I've ended up in the middle of the road before because I also don't want them to feel uncomfortable either way. Right. Of that. So it's, that's another thing I do too, is that it's beneficial that my 2-hour walks, I break it up into getting work done. I also listen to Audible books and music. Yeah. I break it up so at least it's productive. So I go, hey, an hour of work with the team, knock that out, get all the questions answered from the night before. And then I'll listen to half an hour of music and then an hour of, or whatever, half an hour of some kind of a book to, to keep the education going.
So it's a blend of life and business, right?
Yeah, for sure. And
self-care
For self-care. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely a necessity.
Yeah. And then, so how about eating habits? Like, have you, because to me, that's the toughest thing, right? When I go to the office, we had snacks at the office, but it was like, home feels different. Like it's almost like you have a permission to grab something at any moment.
I call it the COVID-19, and it's like, they had the freshman 15 when you went to college, like everybody gained 15 pounds. It's the COVID-19. Like I haven't gained 19 pounds because once again, I'm aggressive when it comes to my walks, but I will tell you that I'm snacking like it is the end of the world. I will go in there, and my wife's a phenomenal cook. And so we're always packed up. And then we even a few weeks ago, bought extra, doing that. Well, not extra, like 40,000 rolls of toilet paper. Cause I'm not that active. You guys think about that one, but you
understand rations, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doubling up or anything. I will be selling it on eBay as soon as they let you start selling toilet paper again. But no, for me, it was like, we bought a little extra food, but we have like all kinds of stuff. And like, I'll give you an example. Like I have probably 8 different dishes in there my wife's made. Like last night she was like, "You want to go out to eat?" And I'm like, or like grab some food to go. And I was like, "What do you mean? We've got enough food for like 30 people in there." And she's Italian. So that's just how it goes down. Like where there's always tons of food. And so I'm like, "Oh, a little here and a little here, a little snack." Like, and I'll eat something, and then I'll eat something on top of what I just ate. Like that's half the reason, it's just because I think, and that's where I try to do these walks. I'm doing them either in the beginning or I do a little bit in the middle of the day as well, because it's, it's like if every time I think about eating, I'm like, let me just do a 15-minute walk, right? Because you will get into this rut of kind of like you're eating. I do emotional eating, right? Where I'm like, just, okay, let me just kind of do this. And because it's there and I'm just eating to kind of eat. And you really have to, think about that. It's like, whoa,
are you like me that like, it's like, oh, I won a deal. Let's celebrate. Oh, damn, I lost a deal. Let's eat.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's always that way. It's funny, right. But like with alcohol, it's not that way. Like I don't, like if I'm depressed, I won't drink.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, it's just like, hey, I just want to have a beer. Like if I'm depressed, I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. I gotta figure out what I'm going to do to correct this or make this better. So I don't really like numb myself in that way. But it's the same thing. Yeah. It's like that's the problem. You can be on both sides of it. It can be either for a great win or a loss. And then all of a sudden you got cupcakes all over you and you're like, what happened? I don't know. It's like, what have I done?
So were you guys always a household that did, here's opportunity for more sponsorships, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Did you do that before? And obviously, are you doing it more?
So we did it a little bit before, but I am, so this is funny. So I'm going to tell everybody this is live. This is awesome. So I am like, I'll go to Vegas and I'll spend $100, $200 a hand. And I'm not saying that because I'm a millionaire. I'm just saying that because I like to gamble, right? We'll do that. I like DoorDash and I'm like, $4 fee. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll go pick it up myself. Like I've probably been, and we get it on occasion, maybe 2 or 3 times a month max. But if I'm able, like, I'm like, why wouldn't I just go pick up this food? Like I can totally do it. But there's like certain things that I'm like an old school, like Jewish guy from like, that I'm just like, nope, got to hold on to the $4. And then the other side, I'm just like, my wife's like, who are you when you just go and do this? But over here, you're complaining about $3, And I'm like, I don't know. I've got like split personalities when it comes to that. So it's kind of a crazy little deal. But now I have been going out of my way to support local businesses because I think that is important. There is a little bit of that risk, right, of where the food's being made and stuff. But I know a ton of restaurant owners here in Sacramento. And so I go in there, I take a picture of the food, I thank the owner, I thank the people, because it's just important. I mean, those people are working on skeleton crews and they're, trying to figure out how they're going to be able to support their business and stay open during these times. So I'm doing everything I can. And I'll tell you, there's nothing like, you come in there and you thank that business and that you just see those owners thank you. And they're just saying, hey, thank you so much in this time of need. And this is also a time to support everybody, man. It is. And it's like my income has been affected, but it's not to the point where I can't go support other people. You know?
You and I both came out of hospitality. So I think we have a special soft spot. And I had a client that just emailed me today and said that, his wife's in a jam. She has a meeting planning company, which is tough right now. And I said, she's got to shift to virtual meetings, of course. But they said in hospitality in North Carolina, 370,000 hospitality jobs are gone. Just gone. So
unemployment, somebody was like 6.9 million people applied for unemployment. Like, I want to say in the last week. I don't know if it was last, but it was like crazy.
It was like in 5 days or so. It was like within a certain
Yeah.
time period. So so let's help as many people as we can through this thing. And then before we switch to this next segment on business, are you a gamer? Have you done more games or binge watching, or what's your like visual entertainment?
No, it's funny. I don't watch a lot of TV. Like I'm so much an internet guy. and I don't watch a lot of TV shows. And gaming, probably the last video game. Actually, I know this is the last video game I played. It was I think Madden. I played Madden with my son. My son's 21 now. I think he was probably 12 or 13. I somehow, excuse my language, somehow kicked his ass in the game. Like, I don't know what I did. I was like just pressing buttons and it was vibrating and pressing buttons. No idea what I was doing. I won like 7-3 and he was a beast at Madden. And I was like, and so I like literally dropped the thing and I was like, hey, I'm never going to play again. Like I won. And he's like, no, we have to play again. I go, nope. And so I've always been the winner, like better than him.
Go out on top, maybe.
I literally have never played a video game since then. Not one, because I'm scared he's going to see me, but I want to play me in anything. He'll crush me in probably Pac-Man. I'm just not the gamer guy. Like I used Legend of Zelda. I used to love as a kid. I used to stay up crazy hours. I just have never been into it. Even TV people were like, oh, have you seen this? And I did watch the Tiger King because it had all the hype. Right. I had a buddy of mine like, dude, you got to see
and your
this.
life has never been you can't unsee that.
No, I'm like, what is going on? And I have people that I know internationally like, hey, we watched the Tiger King. I was like, if you haven't been to the US, just please don't. No, that's not everybody. Don't use that as what you think goes on here. I don't own a tiger. I've got all my teeth. Like, let's just, there's certain things to it. I tell you, I was a little shocked that I could have owned a tiger cub for $2,000. I was a little pissed about that because I was like, that's not too bad.
Well, and he was from Sacramento. No, I'm just kidding.
He's my brother. He's actually my brother.
I see the resemblance.
Yeah, so the red beard. Yeah, I kept my teeth. He didn't. I mean, it's, I get
it. Oh my God. Do you miss sports?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, man. It's funny. I started to get into this. This was before I hurt my back. This is one of the reasons why I only do walking. I used to run a lot and do a lot of other things, boxing and stuff. I hurt my back, which is a whole nother probably podcast or live segment. But I do miss, I started getting into footy, which is like Australian rugby. And I really started to enjoy that. I never got into rugby. I loved the idea of rugby and I went to go play in college. But I didn't have insurance. And so my mom was a nurse and she's like, you're going to like, what happens when you get your head knocked off? And I'm like, I put it back on. Like, I don't know. Like I sew it back on and she goes, no, that's probably not going to be a good idea. So I never jumped into that, but I do miss sports, man. I was doing Pilates before this whole thing went down, but to get my core stronger, my back stronger because of the accident that I had. It was really hard for me to like take it down a notch, because I'm very used to physical type stuff and like, hey, I like that physicality of things. And to be able to like be in Pilates with like 60-year-old women and planking and stuff, like it took me a little while, but it is what it is. Now, as long as I get the core stronger, that was the goal,
Yeah. Emma, I think we need some representation of Tiger King on here is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And me planking with 60-year-old women and a tiger. I think that would be I'll probably have to buy that one back from you though before that goes public. Right,
exactly.
But that makes sense.
It's like me doing a back walkover. We're not putting that on the air. So it's on Snapchat somewhere, but we're not putting it on the air. Okay. So switching a little bit to business adjustments, we started talking about these and please thank your wife for us. I mean, without, the medical workers and the people delivering stuff, we think of transportation, they're behind the scenes. We want to make sure that we acknowledge all the people that are really on the front lines of this, right? And it's not just, this covers life and business if you think about it.
Yeah, it is, man. I once again, I look at it like my wife signed up, not necessarily for this, but as a nurse, that was her.
So she did take that assignment we were talking about?
No, the one in New York. Is that what you're talking about? No, she did not. So there was rumors, and I don't know if this is fully true. I think that it was. I think you maybe heard the same thing, Dean. They were offering like $10,000 a week for nurses to go to New York for a 13-week time, I guess, that they were going to go. She did not take that. It comes down to, for us, it was like, I know that they needed help there. But the problem is I was really worried about her getting it and something happening to her, which is everybody is. It's like, there's some people that are built for that. My wife would be built for that. Like she's very unemotional and very, hey, let's get in and let's knock this out. And she really did want to go. I just was, there's a part of me that's like, are we doing it because you want to help? Are we doing it because they're offering a lot of money? And if they're offering a lot of money, there's something else going on there, right? Like, so she ended up not taking it and ended up staying here. She works in neonatal. So it's a lower risk in regards to the hospital. And I'm trying to keep my wife last time I checked.
Right. I know.
So that's kind of, we made that decision though.
Yeah. So as a company, what changes have you guys done, as part of your normal work routine, I guess, or whatever?
So we were lucky in the sense that we were already a remote team. I had about a 36-person team. We're all remote all over the world. So that wasn't a huge change. Let me take that back. I do have an office. Actually, I have 2 offices. But most of my team was remote. So those offices, what we did is just shut them down, gave everybody laptops, but it was still, we were already using Slack and Trello and Google Drive. And so there wasn't that, Zoom, there wasn't that big of a change for us. We did see a change in the business in regards to our clients, because obviously we do a lot of content writing and, write for a lot of, high authoritative sites and backlinking and, brand mentions and all that fun stuff. So we did see some issues there, clients that, had kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Hey, we have to stop. And, in the beginning, we have agreements with them of like, hey, you can't cancel after whatever it is, 60 days, 90 days, whatever that is. And I talking with my team, I said, you know what, I'm not going to enforce that with anybody. Same. Because it's just not what I did do is I set up a call with them and said, hey, what's the reason for this, right? Is it us? And they go, no, it's not you. Of course, it's this. And I said, okay, well, let's talk this out, because I'm not trying to get you back on board. What I'm doing is I want to offer my help, however I can help you. And let's just kind of think about this. Like, if you totally turn off your marketing, you got to think about how that will affect your business, And if you can totally do that, then that's awesome. But if you maybe took it down to a lower package where you still had a presence there and was still doing some stuff, you just don't want to go totally dark. Because I'll tell you right now, like for my business, I'm doubling up on content. I'm doubling up on stuff because everybody else is going to stop and slow down. And then everybody else I'm going to see them in my rearview mirror. And so for me, I'm going hot and heavy because now is that time. And I know what we can do to be able to, now is that time to get ahead. I mean, I have to imagine PPC is going to be cheaper. I mean, there's a lot of things because there's not as many competitors. If it's a bidding type, situation, I look at it like now is that time. And so, with our clients, everybody's just said pause. Not everybody. The 2 clients are 2 big clients that actually they said, well, we're just going to pause it. It's totally cool, not a problem at all. I said, but if you guys want to jump on a call and let me help you kind of through this process, or if you guys have questions or how you guys can do things differently, like I would be willing to do that for free. Like I have no problem because I look at it as more of this is a human problem, right? Like this isn't my business and your business. This is like, what can I do to help you, Dean? Right? Because if I can give you some of my expertise, if my thing that I talk to you, we talk for a half an hour and I help you turn your business from this to this and at least get you going in the right direction, that could have saved you a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month of research and trying to figure it out. I've done a lot of these things. I've had online and offline businesses, and I've also had businesses. I had a business that got shut down, which is a whole nother story, but like where I had to get rid of 130 employees or we had to downsize. So I've been through these types of things, not like COVID, but in the sense of downsizing and how do you handle
adjustments?
That?
Adjustments.
Huge adjustments.
And I think a thing to note is that, we specialize in digital thought leadership, which content is a big part of that, but also elevating the people that are, whether they're still in business or not in business. I think it's important for people to hear. I can't tell you the number of people I talk to every single day, not just my coaching clients, but other ones, I'm like, this is a time for you, especially if you're not working, is not think about, have that mindset shift that it's not that you're not working, it's that you're working on your next thing or your next you. So I said, this is the time to take the best parts of yourself and figure out how to write content. Watch some Shane videos on how to create content or something, but it's time to shift your mindset and really double down, not just on content, but on your thought leadership. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is the things you have to, everything that happens in life is perspective and how you look at things, right? And the thing is, you can either look at this and like, oh, damn it, I'm in quarantine. Or you look at it like, hey, guess what? The world is frozen at this point. And now what do I need to do to get out of this or even during this to improve myself? Right. So that's either A, stick with your current business, figure it out, or pivot, change, do what you need to do there. Or, this is the time to educate yourself. Like I look at this now and I'm telling my team now this is for me. We're busy, but I'm structuring my day out. So, hey, this is when I do this. I'm going to have 1 hour of whatever, reading a book. I'm going to have 1 hour of doing this. I have 2 hours with my family. I'm really structuring my day because if you're not used to being remote or if you're not used to not going into work, that's going to be a big thing, right? People are going to start getting cabin fever. Like, how do I deal with this? Break up your day, because now what's awesome about that is you have that, you can do that now, right? This is like, think of it as not necessarily retirement, because I'm not saying, you shouldn't make any money or that, but the idea of this is now you have that time. How would you break up your day? And it needs to be, which is awesome. We have family time now. Like before it's like, that's the hardest transition for me. It's like, I was traveling and doing this and doing that. And now I'm like, I'm in my seat. And I'm like, I'm seeing my wife every day, and it sucks for her, but it's great for me. I really like her. She doesn't like me, but that's okay though. We'll figure that out in the middle.
Same here.
Or something. Yeah. She's like, oh, cool. You're still here. I'm like, I know your boyfriend can't come over because I'm here. I know it sucks for everybody, but we're quarantining, sister. That's what we're doing these days. That was a joke. My wife doesn't have a boyfriend, but yeah, I mean, the cool part about it is now is that time.
So wait a minute. Do you have a he shed now where you go to?
Yeah, I have my quarantine shed. Yeah, where I just stand up in it. She'll let me out every once in a while, give me water and stuff. She's a great wife. I mean, she just takes care of me. No, it is. You have to look at this as this is a time. I call it a recalibration of not only the world. Like but a recalibration of yourself as well, right? Like, let's figure this thing out. I think we get so far of like busy and this and that. I'm like this, and sometimes people are like, now that I have the time, I don't know how to handle it because I'm not used to having that time. And it's been difficult for me because I'm used to go. I've got this device and this, I'm speaking, I'm doing here and doing this, and now I'm like, okay, now I actually can look at some projects and go, here goes some stuff that I had on the back burner and I have some time to work on those things now, right? And it really also, what I had to do in regard to my business is go and look at stuff, go and look at my expenses. Because I'll tell you right now, I was spending $2,000 extra a month on software and things that I don't use, but I was paying for. Yeah. So that's what I had to do is I had to go look at this thing and recalibrate my business and say, let me look at some things and wait, I don't need that. And we were still paying for that 6 months ago. Like, what is going on? I looked at all this stuff because I had money coming in. It's like, hey, as long as we're profits there and we're going up, that's awesome. But I didn't look at what I could be cutting back on. And so this gives me that time. And I also looked at my projects. And before I was kind of like, yeah, we got these things going at 20%, 30%. Why do that? Right now I need to focus on what's going to make money.
Yeah. And coincidentally, we were just oddly enough before this was even kick in, I think in February, I was just like, we got to consolidate because, we were finding ourselves not in the office as much. It was around the holidays. And then it was like people coming back from the holidays. And then some people were just sick. We didn't know didn't know COVID as much at that point in January or December. And then it's like, we almost like, said, well, wait a minute, we can, we've always functioned with remote people and support teams and vendors and things like that. We can maybe do this on a regular basis. How often do we need, this office, et cetera? And so I wanted to ask you about that because having an office location like us, and we have two as well. What do you think? Is that gonna change? Because remember, shared workspaces and all these things were booming for so long, and now they're pretty much shut down.
Yeah, WeWork and all those. I mean, you have to realize that this whole COVID-19 thing is going to change the way we do a lot of things. And the co-working space is going to be one of them. Travel is going to be absolutely devastated. Yeah. I mean, it just is. I mean, think about when will be the next time that you'll go on a plane and feel confident about that? Mask or no mask. Let's say you have a mask on, and even then it's a high risk in the sense that who knows who's on there with you, right? And so that's the hard part is the confidence that that's going to have to be back instilled in the people. Once again, for travel, I think is going to be a big one. The WeWork and stuff like that. I mean, I have an office here in Sacramento for my real estate company where we flip properties. I haven't been to it in 2 months. Well, about a month and a half. And so it's like, and not that I don't want to go there, but it's like, it changes everything. Now you have to think about everything. When you're touching this and you got people coming here, you got vendors going this, you got people coming there. It's like, it's just kind of we're shutting down. Actually, that's a lie. We are keeping that office open, but we're not taking packages. They have to drop them off. We have to do this. We're not having anybody else show up to those actual offices because of that. So I do think there's going to be this huge shift. I mean, we're seeing it. The traffic on my website has doubled for a lot of my articles that I've written on like how to work remotely or how to be, the softwares that you need to use in regards to, having a collaborative work team all over the world or whatever that is. Zoom and all those types of products, there's a huge need for them now, right? In regards to people learning how to use them, not because people wanted to necessarily, but because you have to. Like you still have to. You got to keep the ship going, and so that's what we're looking at. And so you're just going to see that huge shift. I think this will make it. It's forcing people to realize that hey, remote work is okay. That people can still get stuff done. I think there'll be a huge shift of people learning how to make sure that people are doing their work and that kind of stuff. I've been doing it for 15 years, so I know I can look at certain things and go, okay, this person's getting their work done or they're not. And I don't care if I say you can get this done by Friday and it takes them 2 hours. Great, you're just efficient. That's awesome. Like I don't micromanage my people, but there's going to be a huge switch for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So anything else? Any other sort of business side adjustments? I guess the good and bad of virtual meetings. Because obviously, Zoom has crashed. GoToWebinar crashed. Everybody's crashed. Netflix has crashed, and I think it's a combination of capacity and then also internet capacity. Because for the first time ever, kids are home from school. They're remote schooling. Everybody's home from work because they're stuck at home. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing where you got to figure out is like, my son is 21 years old and he actually is home, and so I don't have the younger kids that want to play and all that. I have had with my son is like, hey, I want to go skateboard with my buddies or want to go do this, and I'm like, hey, once again, man, you gotta stay in the middle of this thing. Like, I can't have you go do that because the problem is I don't know where your friends are going to at, and then if your friends are going and seeing other people, like once again, you got to figure out how you're going to get in the middle of this thing and stop that. I mean, the whole idea is to flatten the curve, right? But the problem is if you go and see this person and they go do this, and I want to kind of randomly see this, and you go see grandma, then maybe something can happen to grandma, right? So you have to look at this and figure out like, hey, what do we need to do to stop that? And it sucks, man. I haven't seen family members and friends. I tell you what we have been doing, which has been awesome. And I've been calling it beer Zoom. So I'll jump on a Zoom call with whoever, or wine Zoom, or whatever you do in life to help to relieve a little stress. Yeah. And I have a beer with friends. And I literally saw a friend of mine walk in this morning, and I hadn't seen him I don't know how long. I go, hey, Daryl, what's going on? Hey, we should meet tonight for a beer. And he kind of looked at me weird. I go, I'm beer Zooming. And he goes, beers. I like it. He's like, hey, let me know. So I'm going to get on a call with him tonight, have a beer, and kind of this kind of situation. Hey, what have you been up to? How's the family? And really catching up with people. I didn't have that leisure. I didn't have that time before, but now it's a little different, obviously, but it's kind of cool to be able to chat with people. And that's the other upside to this. And there's not tons of upside for now, but another thing is I've been checking in with people. People have been checking with me that I haven't talked to in years. And that's awesome to be able to see that, that people are going, hey man, how you doing? Like, I'm not just asking, I mean, really, how are you doing? Like, how is your family? Like really asking those questions that before it would be, you walk by somebody, hey, how you doing, man? Doing good. Sounds good. And you just keep walking. It's kind of like, that's just how you do it. And now it's like, no, let's have a little conversation. Let's kind of make this little humanistic, this interaction between two humans of like, hey, what do you got going on and how are you doing?
Yeah. That's a great point. So like for my, I literally have, I organized maybe 2 weeks ago with my entire family, and I'm like, it was a Friday night. I go, hey, let's do the family happy hour. And just like on a whim, and we did it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I miss my family. I go, why did we wait for COVID-19 to use this to connect?
And that's the thing you have to think about is like, most of the time when we would see my family, because we don't do like family reunions, is like at a funeral or maybe a wedding. And we go, why don't we get together more? And now is that opportunity, not necessarily in person, but to be able to, to jump on now, like I said, I call it Beer Zoom. And I actually bought the domain name Beer Zooming because I was going to do something with it. Because I thought that's a great idea, or Wine Zoom or whatever you call it. But now you can be able to have those conversations with people, and you don't feel like you're rushed. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's important in these times of, where things are going to become more difficult, where you're going to, go a little stir crazy in your house, is to be able to you need to have those types of interactions, because human interaction is very important. And Zoom and other types of, video conferencing tools make that possible. And so, think about that and being creative in regards to how you can still chat with people and have that interaction, because it is important during these times.
Yeah. And please, for those of you new to all this technology, just remember, if you're on a video call like this or a meeting and you have to go to the bathroom, remember you're on camera. I was just going to say that. Did you see the viral video of the woman that accidentally was in a meeting and she took the laptop to the bathroom with her and set it on the floor?
No, but I saw the one of the gentleman, like a mayor or something. He forgot to undo his microphone. And he was in the restroom, and it was like every noise that was coming out from whatever he was doing in there, and it was like, and the lady was like, oh, ha, ha. So anyway, and she's like looking around. She goes, oh my god, and like the poor guy I thought he was going to die in there, because it was like it didn't sound real healthy. But the other lady was, I didn't see that one. I'll have to take a look at that though.
Yeah, a buddy of mine in the UK was actually in that meeting and posted it. So he had his first viral video from that, but the poor woman. So do you think, what of this so far that we've talked about, do you think is going to be the the new normal? Are we going to be like China, a face mask country when we travel? Are we going to be social distancing all the time, or what do you think?
I think we are. I think we are going to. That's going to be maybe not the new norm all the time, but it's going to be a transition. If we transition away from that, it's going to be a transition, because right now it's hard for people to get used to using masks. And there's going to be a point where it's like, hey, you have to, like, we're getting to that point. And so people, I think, are going to start doing that more and more and realizing, like, hey, if you just get the common cold, that's one thing, but how common is it to going to be able to get something that maybe we don't know anything about, right? That's what's scary. It's like you get a cold, great, you're down for a day or two or whatever that is. It sucks, but it doesn't really, in theory, for us as being, from the US, we're like, that doesn't warrant a mask, right? But now it's like, wait a second, maybe I need to be a little more cautious. Maybe I need to I was raised by a nurse. So I was like, I was, right. I had this, I had the Purell available to me. I was using that anyways before it's the cool thing to do. So I was washing my hands. I wash my hands probably 20 times a day anyways, just because I was raised by a nurse. So I was always told, hey, wash your hands. And I'm improving my technique with all these videos and stuff. So I'm really, really good at it now.
Yeah.
But, I do think you have to be a little more cautious. You have to kind of think about, you're doing this and touching this and doing that and putting your hands. I've realized there was a kind of a funny little meme and that I just read, and I was going to put it up in my Instagram stories, is it talked about, hey, I know the 3 new habits that I have. My habits were that I eat at restaurants and that I touch my face too much. And there was something else, and I only want to go to places that aren't essential. So it's kind of like this new thing of now.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's like now, because I actually had a nightmare. It was like 4 nights ago. I was sleeping, and then I because we have our dogs, and so I had like a hair, and I was touching my face, and every time I touched my face, in my mind I was like, oh my god, like, did I wash my hands? And I did. It was like this weird nightmare. I touched my face. I don't know how many times, maybe once, but I thought it was like 50 times that night. So I woke up and thinking, oh my god, So it's on your mind now.
What's the deal? It's always been known that these have 10,000 germs or some crazy number of just your phone, because of things you touch your phone, things you touch your phone, right? So.
That's the thing, is you have to, once again, I wouldn't say be a germaphobe and be super freaked out and not touch anything. You just have to be cautious of, hey, I just touched something. Hey, I'm going to go wash my hands. Or I'm going to use something.
Yeah.
And hopefully those guys that we've always seen that don't wash their hands coming out of the restroom, that's, who I'm talking to. I'm not here to judge you, but I'm here to let you know now is the time to start washing yourself and your hands. Both, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Wash everywhere.
Everything. Just use the scrub brush and just take care of all of it.
Oh, man. So do you think, because me, we have thank God for the Social Jack production team for being part of this as well. But we've had almost 4,000 things that we've broadcasted, and I was around broadcasting on dial-up. Are you old enough, Shane, to remember dial-up?
Oh yeah. That was a reenactment for everybody. Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
No, but you know what I mean? So and somebody was like, somebody asked me today, I think Monica, she's like, did you ever hear of WebEx? And I was like, oh yeah, they were one of the first, but it's like, so there's been this technology forever. So do you think this video calling and things like that, and maybe even working remotely is then going to also be the new normal?
Yeah, I think it is, because I think a lot of companies were a little nervous of it, of like, oh, how is this going to work out? And now they got forced into it, and I think they're going to realize that things can still go, things can still work. Another thing is too, is you also, it also helps you. For me, I've realized that, my hiring in Sacramento, we have a good pool of hiring, and especially in the Bay Area, but I can get a lot better people all over the world. So my hiring pool is all over. And so you do have to look at what things you're going to put in place in regards to making sure that people are working and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't micromanage my employees, but I do have things, I do set guidelines and timelines and all that kind of stuff. And they need to be, and people need to take a break, great, just tell me. There's certain things that we put in place to make sure that we know that things are being done. But at the end of the day, I just need the work to be done. And so I don't care when you're working, what time you're working, whatever that is. And that's just, but we've been doing that for a long time. In fact, I'll probably end up, as I say this, coming out with a course or something in regards to that on how to do more remote working. And there's a few of them out there that I've seen that are really good. And I think people are forced into it and you're going to realize, hey, this isn't too bad. I think we could probably work this out and make it work.
Yeah. We published one last week that was just on awareness, because people were coming at us like left and right and going, help us with a webinar, help us. And I'm just like, we can't possibly help everybody. So I said, quick, let's put together a webinar on how to do a remote meeting and webinar. So we covered all the the latest technology, what to look for on webinars, on meeting software, because it's new to a lot of people and there's a lot of options. So anyway, check that out on Social Jack. So let's shift to marketing since we're part of that. So what shifts have you seen, besides more content? What type of content? And then are you guys, hitting COVID head on, or are you sort of trying to put different stuff out there to get people's mind off of it? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah. Well, let me say this first of all, Emma, you're rocking it right now. You know what? It literally 10 minutes ago, I just realized that she was literally writing as we spoke, as we were talking. I didn't put two and two together. I am not kidding you, because I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, oh yeah, COVID-19 emotional eating. I'm like, that sounds like me beer Zoom. I'm like, these guys do beer. Wait a second. So I had a little moment there. And Emma, yeah, exactly. Thank you. This is freaking awesome. Anyway.
Shane, we only do awesome stuff at Social Jack. Come on.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm like, wait a second. And then I'm looking at this going, did I say that? Oh, I did tell him that. Didn't I? I did say that about my wife and her boyfriend. It's so weird. Now what do we do? Can't take it. Can't unwrite it.
Emma's great with the eraser.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, baby, I was just kidding. So in regards to marketing, so this is what's interesting. So what we've seen over the last few weeks is my traffic has gone up. I think we talked about that. Like, I think there's more butts and seats and eyeballs online, right? So I think that's why we look at it as like a great time. There's certain industries that are obviously going to be taking a huge hit. We talked about it, like travel and anything like that. Anything that involves, person to person or going somewhere, obviously is going to take a huge hit. Uber, Lyft, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of industries that are going to take a hit. There's a lot of industries that are going to flourish because of this as well, right? So we have the Zoom video conferencing, anything like that, where more remote style type stuff. You're going to see an influx of people doing that. So, the cool part about it is I think there are some companies that have had a little bit of a hit, I think some of the SaaS companies have had a little bit of a hit because, once again, like myself, I went and looked and said, wait a second, I'm not even using this. Why do I need this? So I think it's, I don't think if you have a if you have a $1 million company, you're probably not too worried about the $50 software. But if you have, if you're looking at something, you're underneath that and you're going, well, hey, let me go recalibrate, look at this again and see where I can have some savings. So I think that does affect. And then people look at what's necessary, absolutely necessary, what's not absolutely necessary, right? And what are those projects, like I talked about earlier, which of those projects are going to make money, right? Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to. But I do think, like anything, there's certain industries that will be here a lot more. And there's other industries that are going to flourish because of that. And that's just how it goes. And you have to figure it out, with your company, let's say not yours, Dean, but anybody's, if you're in the travel industry, well, now what are you going to do to figure that out? How can you use your expertise, right? And how are you going to use your expertise to be able to go to your next business or learn something new where your expertise, now you can do it online or something like that. Now is that time to once again recalibrate and go learn something new and go figure that out. Or, look at what other people are doing. And maybe this is that time where you decide to start a business with your friend because you guys had a great idea. And now is the time to do that. So, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking I think it's a good time to, regardless, because we have more time, we're not traveling, is I think two big things jump out for me. One is, I think your target audience is more available than what they were, right? So a lot of times, we think about, we have to reach thousands of people, but sometimes you just need to reach the next 10 best ones. And I think this is a time to step back, and maybe it's because I've had this realization of slowing down while I walk, but I'm like, that connection of slowing down and really connecting with somebody on social media, pausing and not worrying about that we got, 20% more engagement or we got all this. But what about just pausing and talking with the people that are right in front of you on social media? Things like that. That's what comes up for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of take the time, right? I mean, you have some time to look at things before you were moving too fast, right? And I think that's what happens. At least I can say that in my life, things were just going. And now it's been a difficult transition because now it's slowed down, but it's like, it should slow down. Your life shouldn't be that crazy. We're just used to that, I think. And it's important. It's okay for things to be slowed down. And that's, like I said, been my transition for me is I'm still busy, but I have time for the other stuff that I couldn't do before, that I didn't think I had time for before, right? And that's a gift. Like that truly is a gift. And if you're in a situation that you're living paycheck to paycheck and now you don't have any money, then great. There's, freelance stuff. There's a lot of things that you have to figure out to recalibrate. And then you have to look at like, what do I need to do to like, what do I need to bring in monthly? And then you have to take a look at that and figure out what you can do to do that. There are ways to do that online. Like that's the beautiful thing of online is when you touched on it, you could do a course or you can do something. Yeah. You don't need to have 10,000 people to go buy it or go look at it. Like you can have $100 course. And if you had 50 people buy it, like that's $5,000. Like that's like, think about that. Like, there's ways to make money.
Yeah, and on the flip side, use this time to build more skills, right? So, and not just for yourself, but as an organization, increase skills as you think about shifting, or you think about pivoting, and you're talking about recalibrating. I think this is a time to really think about what can we do better? What can we do differently? Maybe we were doing too much. Let's just do one thing great. It's time to think about that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what we looked at as a company because I'm infamous for just doing 1,000 different things, and so now we looked at like, okay, we take the speaking thing off. We're not doing that obviously for the next few months and we're doing the podcast thing, but I'm like looking at like, okay, now what are we of these 10 projects we had going, we had them all funding everything. I'm like, what are we going to do to scale those back and really focus on the things that are, 80, 90% there, generating revenue there, right? So generate some revenue that as we should, and then go look at these other projects because it was always just tons of stuff. And it just made me take a look at like, what do we need to do to focus more? So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to Glenn Stewart, who typed into the question area here. The past is the past. The new norm will be different. Now use your time to plan for the time after COVID-19. So do not take time to plan your new so do not have to take time to plan your new strategy and how to contact people to do business, but plan a new marketing approach. Like now is the time to start to map out how to connect differently, how to connect better, what to say. I think we said that before, but I think people need to sort of let that sink in and go, when you wake up, have a chunk of time where you're just building, creating. That's what this country is about, innovating. I think I'm going to break into a rap song here. So
yeah, that was close. I was like, man, I was going to start beatboxing there for you, but probably wouldn't have been that good, but I would try anyways, just support
That's right. My part wasn't good either.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't drop out and start a band. I probably agree
not
with
yet.
That.
Not yet, but you got me thinking.
That's it. Yeah, I think, another thing is too, and I kind of, some other things to think about, and we talk about supporting people through this whole thing and, talk about business and marketing. My mom was the one who gave me this idea is, we have service workers, give you an example, house cleaners or people that mow your lawn, people that do those types of things. My mom is actually still paying them. They're not able to come, but she's giving them half for almost like we bought gift cards as well. So in other words, say you got somebody that used to mow your lawn or whatever and can't come in. We're still paying them half and just saying, hey, on the next one now you'll be paid in full and now you owe me one. Right? Because these people, a lot of their income just totally stopped. And so think about the next person. Right? That's really what's important. I mean, for me these days, is it great? I'd love to have more business and all that, but that's not my point. Like I'm doing what I can to say, okay, if I was totally screwed right now, like how could somebody help me? What would be the biggest thing they could do for me? And like, I'll give you an example. Like I've got a call here in another hour. I'm going to be doing some stuff for the SBA. Doing some advising for the SBA because I want to be able to help I'm thinking about my real estate thing. I want to be able to help business people, right, that have businesses and be able to get the funding that they need for the current programs that they have, the PPP and the EIDL program. So, I'm looking at like, how can I improve myself, but also how can I help other people, right? Because I have some time and I can be able to get in there and be able to help advise people on how to be able to keep their business going. And so that's my thing. I never really, when I was younger getting into this, I did some consulting for startups and stuff like that. But now I feel like I can really make an impact by going in and saying, hey, let me help you with this. Like, let me help you get this thing up and going. And let me show you how you can either restructure your business or doing something like that, because that brings me joy. Right? Because I've been in those positions and you're like, who do you turn to? Like, it's so difficult. And like, I don't know what to do. And do I do these loans? And then I owe this money. Like, how do you work that out? And so I'm kind of self-educating myself on that right now, once again, to help people. Because I feel like I have a good knack for looking at businesses and saying, this is what you should do, and this is what I'm advising, but you can do whatever you want, but to be able to help people. So I'm trying to spend more time on volunteering as well. And once again, being able to kind of to pay it forward, because it's hard times for everybody, this is the first time probably ever we're all going through this together. Like literally the whole world is going through this together. It's not a black, white, Mexican, not this, not that, politics, Democrat, Republicans, none of that. Yeah. It's like, how can I help you? I don't care what you are, who you are. How can I make it better for you? And that's, if we had more of that going on, good things will happen.
Yeah. Amen, brother. And I just want to reinforce that as Emma's writing down there, pay it forward. But, we talk about this at every class we teach, every webinar, and Shane, thanks for living it in front of us. But we always tell people that we all have something that someone else doesn't know, and we can help them. So even if it's something that you learned here today, teach someone else. Teach someone else next to you. Teach someone else across from you. Teach people what you know, and have them teach you back. If we had a culture and a world that did more of that, we would just be like unstoppable, even more, so that no economy can affect us. We would be that woven.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. You have to realize, and a lot of people don't realize this, is like your past, your history, the things that you've done, you've learned something, and you can give that to somebody else. And that's when we talk about courses and other stuff. People go, yeah, but nobody cares what I do. And I'm like, they do. And let me just explain why that is, because you have this 10, 15 years of knowledge of things that you just assume everybody knows, and they don't. Like I was reminded that early on in my speaking career, that I'm like, I'm going to go up and talk about this stuff. And I'm like, God, I feel like what I'm talking about is pretty basic marketing. I'm like, I'm going to get booed off the stage. And people kind of be like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, I didn't even know that you could market on Facebook. And I'm like, yes, it is possible. And I'm glad I told you about that. Right. Or content marketing. Like, I didn't even know that, like that could, that's how you're getting all your leads. And then can you tell me how you did that? Like for me, it was very basic stuff. And so I love that, because you have to think about, once again, how can you pay it forward, right? And Dean, you had a good point of like, hey, jump on a call with somebody for a half an hour and say, hey, what are you into? Hey, this is what let me help you on this stuff, and you can help me on my stuff. Like I'm doing a lot of that now with swapping with people in regards to content and talking about businesses and stuff. Like, what can we do to help each other out? Like, great, you might not have the money that, that it takes, and, and so we can swap something out. And once again, if that helps you and it helps your business, I mean, you have to look at, if I spend an hour with somebody and that has a huge impact on their business and they're able to change things, why wouldn't I spend that hour? Like, what else am I going to do? I mean, I can do that while I'm walking. I can literally do a call. I mean, I usually have to disclose, hey, I'm breathing heavy in your ear. It's not that I'm not excited to talk to you, but it's because I'm walking heavy and I'm a little older. Yeah. So let's not make this awkward. It's free anyways. And, let me see what I can do to help people. So get in that mindset, you have that extra hour you're sitting on looking at social media, and go, you know what? I wonder what I can do to help somebody else in this situation, or volunteer, or do something online, not volunteer physically, but do something online to be able to help. You can. There's somebody that needs your services and needs you, and just, put yourself out there.
Yeah, I love that, man. I appreciate that. And, maybe it's been in your heart to start a podcast or a blog or something, where, a YouTube channel, whatever it is, but get your expertise and your thought leadership out there. That's thought leadership, is helping others with what you know, but then having a growth mindset to continue to learn and then share. I mean, I don't know how to put it any easier, so it's a time.
And especially these days, man, there's tons. I mean, there's Udemy, there's all kinds of platforms out there that you can pay $30 to go have somebody divulge all of their secrets of the last 10 years of what they've learned in regards to SEO or content marketing or influencer marketing, any of that stuff. Like, there's so many great things. That's why, we're coming out with a course. It's a how to be an influencer course, but it's a whole nother story. But the reason why we're coming out with that, because we feel like people would love to be able to make an extra $100 or $200 or $300, right? To be able to do those kind of things, and they can still create content. So anyways, there's a lot of different ways. Once again, get educated. There's softwares, there's a cool stuff out there that you can go take a look at. And once again, just to kind of be up and be ready when this thing kind of, when this all blows over.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're just about out of time. And Shane, I always learn so much, but I think we should bring Emma back on, because wow, did she nail it? I mean, this is amazing stuff, right? And people are asking, how did you do this? What software? No software. You need to know Emma, and you need to know the Ink Factory. Write that down. Awesome. and integrate it with your meetings for fun and variety. So, Emma, am I throwing you off by having you come back on camera? Or are you in? place to do
No, one moment here. I will.
She's like, I'm drawing for God's sakes. I can't even imagine, like, how do you draw and, like, be on camera? So there you go. You nailed it, man.
Thanks, you guys. This was great. This was fun for me too. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Emma, you and I are going to be talking.
Yes.
This is awesome. Seriously. I'm looking at this thing. Yeah, I'm looking at this thing going, this is awesome because it talks about because you talk, but you just talk, right? And then, but when you actually have it documented, like, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Right. And people are visual learners. So it's a good way to sort of synthesize all the key points.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. All right, Shane. Well, listen, thank you again, buddy. And Emma, thank you so much for your artistic and talent abilities with us. And you know what? We're going to share this out with the world and hopefully it inspires some to be better, do better, and help each other, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Thanks, you guys.
All right, everybody.
Thank you so much. And Emma, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Bye.